Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Today is National Voters Registration Day, and my office will be working to raise the awareness and encourage all Cook County residents to register and vote. We are also using this day to help raise awareness about a potential crisis that we're facing as we head into the November election. We have a serious shortage of judges and poll workers. Now, the clerk's office manages elections in suburban Cook County, and we've seen our number of election judges shrink significantly in recent years. Over the last 8 years, we've seen a reduction of about 40%. We currently have about 4,000 individuals who have indicated that they're available to work in the upcoming election, but we need at least 7,000 judges to cover every open position. Now, as you would expect, the pandemic has had a devastating impact on our ability to recruit and retain election judges. In last June's primary election, for instance, we had 4,500 judges show up for service on Election Day. By comparison, in 2018, midterm election prior to the pandemic, we had more than 7,100 judges that worked on Election Day. In addition to the challenges brought by COVID, we're also seeing many of our long-term election judges retiring due to age. Quick fact, the average election judge is between 65 and 70 years old. Put that in your thinking cap and think about that. Now, as our current political climate is certainly not helping matters, many voters that I talk to, they're troubled and unsettled about the chaos and the tone of the political conversation right now. It's not just here in Cook County. Election jurisdictions across the country are finding themselves in the same dilemma that we're in. In fact, it's estimated that approximately 130,000 poll workers have stopped serving over the past 3 midterm elections across the nation. Despite the current climate, our elections must carry on. Now, that's why I'm here today announcing a special appeal to all military veterans to consider joining our branch of service to work as an election judge. Now, you'll see this, and we love this. I had them to change it rather than saying, we want you, like they did for the military, we said we need you. Now, our veterans, they're a trusted and committed group of men and women who have already displayed the courage to serve this country in difficult times. They have the skills, the discipline, the pride to serve, and to help restore a level of confidence in our electoral system. And they can even make some cash in the process. Now, moving forward, my office will be working with our partners at the Cook County Department of Veterans Affairs, our veterans hospitals, and organizations like the Honor Flight Chicago to help get the word out about this call to service for our veterans. Brian Cross, who's with me here today, heads up our Veteran Service Office. We'll be leading these efforts to help us connect with our veteran community. I'd like to encourage any veteran who hears this call to answer it and help their community exercise their rights that they have sacrificed and fought so bravely for. Now, I want to turn it over to Ed Michalowski, who is our Deputy Clerk of Elections. Ed? I don't think you need that.
No, I don't. With the clerk's leadership, it's really our honor to appeal to the veterans that have served our country once, and we're asking all veterans to help us prop up democracy. Is there any higher calling to anyone that works in the election field? We work year-round. Many people took time off for the pandemic to work from home. We didn't, because elections matter. And that's why the clerk has asked us to make this appeal, because veterans are the cornerstone of democracy in the United States, and we want them to be part of our cornerstone to make sure that the election in November will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Now I'm going to ask that Brian Cross say a few words. He manages our office for veterans and doing a terrific job. Brian?
To reiterate part of what Ed said, and the clerk said also, these are tough times for democracy. And those in the veterans community took many years out of their lives to fight for this democracy. And we're asking for them to fight for this democracy again by serving us on Election Day. It's extremely important that we run a good, orderly election, and with the help of our veteran community, we trust that we will be able to do that.
Thank you, Brian. So with that, just take our message out there and let the veterans know that we need you to serve on Election Day. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
You mentioned that election authorities across the country have reported harassment of workers due to...
I didn't say that, but it is happening.
Is that something that you've seen in Cook County as well?
Not so much in Cook County. I've not witnessed that myself at all. I have heard from some of the folks on Election Day that, you know, the usual that you get, somebody crossed the line or somebody wore a badge or something into the polling place, you know, the stuff that we usually get on Election Day, but not so much the vitriol and what we're seeing across the United States.
And you kind of touched on this, but if you aren't able to get to that 7,000 number, I mean, what's at risk for voters this year?
Well, the good thing, let's talk about the good thing. The good thing is most of our folks, many of our people, vote early or they vote by mail. Ed, could you speak to what kind of numbers we saw in the last couple of elections?
Sure. In the 2021 consolidated elections, we saw, in 2020 general election, we saw about 70% of the people voted before Election Day. But that doesn't mean Election Day operations can change at all, because we have a designated precinct system. So in 2022, we appealed to, in 2021, we appealed to the General Assembly, so we increased the size of precincts so we can decrease the amount of precincts, not changing the polling places. So if you walked in a gym and there was 3 precincts in that polling place, now there may be 1 or 2. So we did reduce the amount of precincts to kind of keep up with some of the shortages, but it's still difficult. And to answer your question, what's at risk? Truly, when you have a day as long as the election judges have, they get there, you know, they get out before the sun is up, and they leave well after the sun is set. And throughout that day, if there's one person in a precinct, we're putting a heavy weight of democracy on their shoulders. So that's what's at risk, to make sure that the people running these polling places are adequately staffed to get the job done appropriately and to give them the consideration that they deserve, to make certain that they're not the only one propping up the election polling place.
I'm curious, are there any specific towns or areas of the county geographically that are, you know, you especially need people to step up in?
Probably the north and northwest suburbs is probably, and that's a reoccurring issue. Every year, we're still trying to get more and more folks to do this. I'm just hopeful that our veterans will step up and give us a hand with this. We've never done this before, but Brian runs a shop where they come in and they file their DD-214s, they get their military discount card and all of that. And so he's having and talking to the veterans associations and what have you. And we just never thought about them for this. But now, you know, why not? And I'm really excited about this. I'm just glad we came up with it, and I'm looking forward to veterans stepping up one more time for democracy, because that's what's on the ballot. Any other questions? No? All right. Thank you so much for being here, and we need them. Okay? I asked Ms. Holmes to come because she can put a face to what that day looks like. She's been an election judge for how many years?
40 plus years.
40 plus years. So she knows the drill. She's been through it. And I just asked if she could just kind of, you heard what we said. What do you say?
Well, everything you said makes a lot of sense. I'm going to stick to the part when you said the close of the day. It is a burden when you have a place where you should have 5 judges and you only have 3. And we're running around trying to get things done. We want things done in a proper manner. That's why we signed on to be judges. So when we don't have that, we do double work. And so we're looking for people to come out, to stand up, to serve, to do what we need to be done in order for us to move democracy and move our world in the place where we need to go to. We need them to come out. And as the veterans, I think it's a great idea because so many of them are probably retired and would love to stand in that place. And when you go and ask, you will be surprised how many will come forth and be excited about what you brought to the table to them. I mean, we bring this out, then they will be able to come in and know that there is a need. So I'm excited about the fact that we will have what we need to move forward. There's a lot of people running and moving away because of the simple fact that it is a long day. But it's a long day and it's worth it. We got to keep this voting and everything going on in order for us to move our world in the right direction. So I think we are definitely on the right track. We do need them.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.